Doink.
Early 2000s PBS was goated. I never had basic cable as a kid, so for entertainment, I would check out Garfield books from the library or get games out of literal cereal boxes. So having PBS was the essential bridge to making sure my mind didn't go completely insane. And here's the 5 best shows.
Zaba Fu.
With the Crack Brothers.
While walking in the woods one day.
You know what kids love? Talking animals. You know what Zaba Fu had? Talking animals. It was the greatest show ever when it came to that. I had like 50 stuffed animals, and every night I would rotate out a different one so the other ones wouldn't feel bad or get jealous. And this show had everything. In addition to a talking Zaba Fu, it had elephants, lions, tigers, lemurs, everything you could possibly imagine was in this show. And the best thing about it, I had the Zaba Fu plush. I'm not even joking. It was the sickest thing ever. Hey, come here. Never talk to me unless you had the Zaba Fu plush. Your opinion means nothing.
Cyber chase, we're moving. We're beating hacker at his game. Don't tell me that he's trying to hack the motherboard. We'll get him every time.
Cyber Chase was the modern version of the Magic School Bus. The Magic School Bus was great, don't get me wrong, but it was a little bit before my time, and because of it, it didn't adapt to the internet quite like Cyber Chase did. Because Cyber Chase had the internet as a background, it felt fresh, it felt new, and that's what kids liked to watch back then. I know I certainly did. You don't want to watch the old Sesame Street episodes from God knows when. The aim of the show was to teach kids science and mathematics, and while I am terrible at those things, I enjoyed watching the show. There's nothing more fun than interacting with the show. It was like an early version of a game show when you're a kid, where you try to guess like what the answer is going to be. It also had really strong vibes of this old MS-DOS game called Math Blaster and Gizmos and Gadgets, both of which were around at the same time and had that emphasis of learning about math and science and combining them all together. But with Math Blaster, you could shoot giant trash cans of debris, and I learned that 5 + 2 = 7. So that's pretty cool. Zoom made it fun to learn. The entire show was hosted by actual children, and because of that, they would talk to the audience as actual children. There was nothing pretentious about it. You ever watch one of those old TV shows from like the 70s or 80s that was meant for children, and it feels like they're talking down to the audience? Kids are much smarter than you think. We're not dumb. I don't know why people think we're so stupid. So the smartest thing that Zoom ever did was have kids hosting the show and having them relate to them on the same level like that. But as great as Zoom was, it taught you a fake language, and this is where I got screwed up, because Abu Dhabi
Baba rubbing chabit. Baba rubbing chabit. Yabu nabi. Abba bubby. Dabba bubby. Dabbit. Abba bubby. Dabba bubby. Dabbit.
is not a real language. I spent my whole life thinking that Abu Dhabi was an actual language. No country speaks that language. I don't know where they got that from. I think it's just like Pig Latin, but just switch some stuff up. You can't go anywhere and speak that.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original point of view.
Arthur is not only one of the greatest PBS shows of all time, it's one of the greatest TV shows of all time. The amount of characters that they have, the amount of depth that they gave them was unparalleled for any show back then. We're talking like multi-million-dollar budgets for like one of these episodes, and it showed each and every time. A lot of people don't know that it was based off a book series, and I think that's why the episodes were written so well, and why there were so many different like dovetailing plots and character synchronicities and all this other stuff. It was a marvel to watch. I always felt like I was cheating with Arthur, because you would get 2 episodes in 1 episode, right? Everything was like about 12 minutes, and then there'd be a little segment in between, so I always felt like I was binge watching, man. It was an amazing feeling, and when you had 2 episodes of Arthur back to back, oh man, it was like Christmas morning. But what made Arthur so great was it had a ton of lore. It was one of the longest animated shows of all time, and every time there was a new episode or a new season, it added to the character and it added to the overall plot in a real way. But it was so well written that you could be watching Arthur for the first time and be watching Arthur your whole life and still get the same amount of enjoyment from an episode. It is quite incredible.
Between the lines, between the covers of the book, it's time to look between the lions. Behold the tale.
Now I know this is gonna be controversial. Between the Lions over Arthur, but listen man, it comes down to one thing: variety. We're talking cliffhanger, we're talking the singing lips, we're talking dancing smarty pants. Oh, thank you, girl. Tell me that doesn't stick in your head even all these years later. Between the Lions was a show that was mainly based in not just learning to read, but a heavy emphasis on music. Full-fledged songs. Real production, real lyrics, real music, everything written by scratch, and it was a blessing upon my infantile mind.
Sloppy, sloppy, cut. No, don't accept the sloppy copy. Cream of the OP crust. I'm sloppy.
Arthur had musical numbers too, don't get me wrong, but let's be honest. If you hear
Jekyll, Jekyll, hide, Jekyll.
and then you hear
Dancing smarty pants.
which one is going to be better? Be honest with yourself. I literally have my smarty pants on right now. This is not a game. It's not just about teaching kids how to read or about math or science or anything like that. It's about putting into their head the spark of creativity. And no show did it better than Between the Lines. Although there was that one dude.
Stretch.
I don't know what his deal was.